All right, good morning, Facebook. Welcome to the PTNI's Daily Show. Waiting on Instagram here. There we are, Instagram as well. Good morning. Welcome to the PTNI's Daily Show. Happy Friday morning. My name is Alan. I'm happy to be your host today here on the best day of the week. It's Fitness Athlete Friday. I currently have the pleasure of serving as the Chief Operating Officer for ICE, in addition to teaching in our Fitness Athlete division, and that's what we talk about here on Fridays, all things fitness athlete, the CrossFitter, Olympic weightlifter, power lifter, the endurance athlete, the runner, the cyclist, the triathlete. Don't forget about Gut Check Thursday. We released it yesterday. 42, 30, 18, 30, 42 double unders, and then 25, 20, 15, 10, 5 hand release push-ups. So a quick little workout of jump rope and push-up with some options to do some line hops or even some running with the push-ups if you don't have a jump rope or don't want to jump rope this week. So a quick little workout for Gut Check Thursday. Some courses coming up. If you're looking to learn from us in the Fitness Athlete division, your next chance to join us for our live course will be this next weekend, June 24th and 25th. That's going to be out in Bear, Delaware with Mitch Babcock and Guillermo Contreras. And then that same weekend, if you're out in California, you can join Jeff for cervical spine management. That's going to be in Santa Rosa, or you can join Zach Morgan for lumbar spine management in Simi Valley. So 2 chances in California to catch ice out on the West Coast. And then online courses in the Fitness Athlete division. We have our pregnancy and postpartum course starting up. That is going to be June 28th with Christina Previtt and Alexis Morgan. And then you can join Mitch Babcock and Zach Long for Fitness Athlete Advanced Concepts. If you've taken Essential Foundations already, you can jump into the second iteration of that course, digging into programming Olympic weightlifting and modifications for injured athletes. That will start July 12th. So, speaking of all things fitness athlete, something we believe firmly here at ICE is today's topic is addressing nutrition with our patients, our athletes, our clients. And this can be a tricky area. Certainly as we've kind of spread into this domain a little bit more, we've heard a lot of feedback of this is not an area for physical therapists, this is beyond our training, etc., etc. And I'm going to push back on that a little bit today from a wide variety of angles. So the first thing we need to tackle is this actually legally in our scope of practice to talk about nutrition? And the answer is 100% yes. American Physical Therapy Association has multiple position papers that this is within our scope. It is something that we should definitely be addressing. And as far as a state-by-state legal basis, there is no state that explicitly prohibits you from at least discussing and educating on nutrition. Now, some states leave the individual tweaking of a person's diet, of adjusting their intake levels, their numbers, their macros, whatever you call it, as outside of a PT scope of practice. But I'm going to argue we don't really need to go that deep with most people to have a good effect. And something else we get into is, as we talk about nutrition, is that we shouldn't be talking about this because this is more of a psychologist, therapist, sports psychologist domain to address, especially with folks who maybe have had disordered eating in the past. And while we certainly can appreciate that, that is not going to be the majority of people that walk into the clinic. The person in front of you, statistically unlikely to have had eating disorder, right? That most people coming in are going to be looking for advice, probably not going to have a lot of knowledge on this. And we're not telling them to eat a specific diet. We're not telling them to eat specific foods. We are trying to make sure they are getting enough food, specifically enough protein that's going to help them in therapy and if they're active in their performance in whatever they do for activity. So just know, is it within our scope? Yes, 100%. It is something we should be addressing. There's a really interesting paper that asks primary care physicians and physical therapists, what are you doing to address exercise and nutrition with your patients? And what's fascinating about this paper is the primary care docs say, well, we don't address that because that's something physical therapists do. And in the same study, they ask the physical therapists, and the physical therapists say, oh, we don't talk about nutrition and diet and food. That's something the primary care doctor does. And so in this same study, you have this realization of, oh, no one is doing it. Party A thinks Party B is doing it, and in reality, neither of them are doing it. Nobody is talking to patients about this. And the longer I've practiced, the more I've started to address this, even from the first visit, especially with an active individual who seems to have an overuse injury, is digging really deep into nutrition, trying to find out, Do they know how much food they're eating? Are they going to bed hungry? Are they eating enough protein? Do they know what protein is? Do they know what kind of foods are high in protein? And the longer I've done this, the more I've realized people really have minimal understanding of nutrition, especially when we start to get into the macronutrient spread of, are you getting enough protein? Well, I have no idea. And when you hear that answer, when you start to ask that question and you start to hear that answer, there's really a lot of meat on the bones there to help these patients, these clients, these athletes. The second question we get a lot is, well, okay, maybe we can talk about the education, but why don't we just send these people to a dietitian? And I love dietitians. A good friend of mine is a dietitian. The problem with dietitians is there aren't a lot of them. And the few of them that are there are usually working in the hospital on an inpatient basis. There are very few outpatient dietitians who have an office set up where people can go and see them for nutrition help, right? Most of them are working in the hospital with patients admitted to the hospital, and they're just inaccessible to a large majority of the population. They certainly would not be able to handle an influx of a bunch of patients coming to see them for help getting their diet really dialed in, right? So we love to refer to them and utilize them as much as possible, but the truth is there just simply aren't a lot of them, and they aren't accessible by the majority of our patients. If I had a patient who I wanted to send to a dietitian, the closest one with outpatient office visits is about 3 hours away. That's a tough ask to ask somebody to drive 6 hours round trip to get their macronutrients adjusted. So it can be tough to have people get a dietitian, which is why, as much as I would like to, I simply can't send everybody that has nutrition questions to a dietitian. Now, I want to talk about some specific examples because I think this will really hammer home how important it is to begin to address this with our patients. And so I've got a whiteboard behind me. I don't know if you can see that frontwards or backwards or not, but we'll do our best, and I'll describe what I'm reading off the whiteboard for those of you who are listening on the podcast. So I've got two different patients here. They're currently active patients, been with me for a little while, both coming to see me for traditional physical therapy means, having some trouble with day-to-day tasks, having some pain that required PT intervention. But with both of them, where a lot of my treatment and my intervention has gone, at least early on, was nutrition. So let's talk about this first patient here. We'll call him A. He is 74 years old. He weighs 135 pounds, which we'll get into why that's relevant here in a second. He has, coming to me, said, I have low back pain pretty much my entire life. Not very active. Does some yoga, does some walking, but overall not very active. For pretty much his entire life, has gone to get a massage every couple weeks, which has helped him manage his pain, but he has never been pain-free until starting physical therapy. So obviously we addressed his low back pain with physical therapy interventions, but we also really got into nutrition when I asked him on his evaluation. He said, well, I kind of keep a log every day of what I eat. I would like to lose some weight. And I said, okay, your homework, aside from his home exercise program, is to go home and track your food every day for a week. So this individual, no smartphone, so he's not using an app. He's reading nutrition labels and just kind of writing it down in a log. I said, when you come back, we're going to average out your calories and average out your protein. And now this is quite remarkable for a number of different reasons of this patient coming back and eating an average of 900 calories a day and about 50 grams of protein. So yes, older doesn't necessarily need as many calories, but certainly 900 is on the lower end. And if we look at the protein and we convert his body weight here, we want to divide his body weight by 2.2 to get his weight in kilograms. And then we really want to tackle both the calorie deficit and the protein deficit. We know for somebody that is already active or looking to increase their activity, we want to shoot for 80 to 100% of their body weight in protein, which we're nowhere close, right? We'd want to see about 100 to 135 grams of protein there. So We want to see his protein at least double, if not triple. And then definitely what sticks out is 900 calories, right? It makes sense that this individual is having trouble losing weight and meeting a weight loss goal because he is basically starving every day, right? 900 calories is nothing. So our main intervention, aside from helping him with low back pain, obviously doing some strengthening, some manual therapy, and a home exercise program, is working on his nutrition of saying, I want you to at least aim for 100 grams of protein a day. With that increase, you're going to bump your calories up a little bit. Having him come back the second week and eating now an average of about 1,300 calories a day, and now we're getting 100 grams of protein a day. There we go, we can see that a little bit better. And so him coming back, what does he report? He reports, wow, I have a lot more energy. I feel like doing your home program more. I feel like going for a walk more often. I can't believe how much energy I have. That is such a quick fix to just have him bump up his protein, get a couple hundred more calories a day because of that, and then see how he feels after a week. The thing we're doing here is we're not making dramatic changes. I'm not saying, you need to be eating like 2,000 calories a day. It's probably going to be uncomfortable to basically double food intake instantaneously. So we do need to adopt like a slow stair-step progression. But just amazing how much better he feels getting enough protein to support his recovery from his injury and also the additional exercise that he's now doing. And then just the energy from having more calories. And so week 3, we bumped him up a little bit more. I said, I want you to aim for about 120 grams a day. And then now he's getting between 1,500 and 1,700 a day. Saying, again, I have a lot of energy. I feel really good. I can't remember the last time I had pain. I feel like I could do more exercise-wise. And so now programming him some workouts for home. Simple stuff. He went out and bought a kettlebell and he bought a treadmill. So he's doing incline walking, kettlebell swings, goblet squats, deadlifts off the floor with the kettlebell, that sort of stuff. All of that because he now has the energy to actually exercise every day because he's no longer starving himself nutritionally. And so seeing a giant increase in his energy output, in his performance, and also in his recovery. Now a month into PT or so, no longer having pain, doing 3 to 4 home workouts a week, and feeling a lot better. And that was such a quick fix, a couple minutes of conversation in the eval, just to ask, do you know how much food you're eating? Do you know how much protein you're eating? So that's a good example of a more sedentary patient becoming more active just with some nutrition intervention. And then we have this other patient over here on my right, your left. We'll call this gentleman M. This is a 40-year-old patient, 180 pounds, so a little bit heavier body weight wise, and again, that's going to be relevant just to know how much protein we need to be getting. Coming to see me for some hamstring pain with running about 5 miles a day, 5 days a week, so a moderate amount of running volume. Has had this pain for a year or so to the point that he quit running. So his goal was to reduce the pain, get back to running. And again, one of my first things in the evaluation, aside from gathering his symptom behavior, was trying to find out how much food you're actually eating, how much protein are you eating, because you are certainly exercising a lot. Same thing, this gentleman has a smartphone, so I had him download my FitnessPal, go home for a week, be honest, track everything. I'm not trying to shame you for what you're eating. I just need to get some data. I need to understand what you're eating for an average of calories and an average of protein. Coming back, eating 1,500 calories a day and 30 grams of protein a day. So we need about 0.8 kilograms or grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. We're nowhere close to that with 30 grams of protein. That is such a small amount of protein. Again, this gentleman, 180 pounds. If we're trying to get to 80 to 100% of our body weight, we need to be eating 150-ish to 180 grams of protein a day. At 30 grams, nowhere close. It makes sense of why he always feels tired, under-recovered, sore. He's having this musculoskeletal pain. Again, simple intervention. I want you to triple that protein. I want you to go from 30 to 90 grams a day. That's still on the lower end, but we're not going to make a big jump instantaneously. And so going to 90 grams of protein a day, that's going to add in a couple hundred more calories a day as well, coming back, feeling better, not having the symptoms as much at rest, and then over the course of a couple weeks, slowly moving him up to 150 grams of protein a day, which is kind of the minimum that we want him to be at if he's still going to try to continue to run 25 miles a week. And along the way, feeling better, having more energy, speed actually going up on runs, noting improved performance, hitting PRs with running splits, all the sort of stuff that comes now with eating more food. This individual had no idea about protein intake, was just eating kind of the same thing at the same meals with no regard to how much protein might be in it. If I'm being honest, kind of eating like a toddler. Breakfast was a piece of toast with honey on it. Lunch was soup, kind bar for a snack, and then maybe some chicken and vegetables for dinner. So really not eating a lot of food and definitely not eating a lot of protein. But addressing it with him early on and throughout the course of treatment, again, traditional physical therapy intervention, manual therapy, exercise, everything we normally do on top of the nutrition. Now he's back to running 5 miles a day, 5 days a week. He's riding his bike 30 to 40 miles a day on the weekend, crushing it physically, handling a ton of volume, but now feeling appropriately recovered because he's getting enough food and he's getting enough protein. And now again, there is the concern that folks can come in with an eating disorder. We're not telling people what to eat. We're not telling them how to eat to look a certain way. We are saying there is a certain baseline of food you need to eat and protein you need to eat to recover from being alive as a human being. And then on top of that, if you want to perform, if you want to be running 5 miles a day, then there's another threshold we need to cross to make sure that you are fueling enough for your body to recover from all the physical activity that you're doing. And that's a baseline, and we need to be very, very comfortable with having that conversation with people and helping them get there. Now, when they want to get into performance, they want weight loss goals, they want to see their abs, whatever other kind of goals beyond PT, we're lucky here in-house we have a nutritionist. We can send people that way. We can refer people to online coaches. That kind of goes beyond the realm of PT, certainly the realm of what I want to do as a PT. In Michigan, we have no restrictions, so we could certainly help people count macros and track them and stuff, but I don't really have an interest in doing that, and we have somebody in-house who does that already. So when they kind of get to those higher level goals, we send them off. But again, we're not coming from this of a way of shaming people or trying to give people an eating disorder. Again, 99.9999% of these patients, we're actually telling them to eat more because they're not eating enough. They're coming in, they're basically starving themselves, and they're super underfed on protein. So I challenge you all out there to start to address this, of making sure you're asking about it on the evaluation, making sure you're asking what's your nutrition look like, do you know how much food you're getting, do you know how much protein you're getting, do you understand what protein is, do you understand how important that is, especially if you're injured or you're trying to increase your performance. And you'll be amazed at how much better people can get, how much faster when you start to intervene from a nutritional aspect. So happy to hear discussion on this. Pros and cons. It can be a touchy subject for a small population of our patients, but a lot of people can benefit from us wading into the water here and being comfortable tackling nutrition with patients. So hope you'll have a great weekend. If you're going to be in Phoenix this weekend for Older Adult Live, I'll see you there. Other than that, I'll catch you on the next Fitness Athlete Friday. Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.